Hey, this is Joe from Home Studio Corner. Today we're going to tackle the question, should you record your vocals in a closet? I hear this all the time from folks who are moving into a new space and they'll say, oh, look at that closet. That's going to be great for recording vocals. There's my vocal booth. And historically, I've always said, easy, Turbo, you might not want to record vocals in a small enclosed box. There's a reason that vocal booths are thousands of dollars, because when you enclose yourself in a small space, all those frequencies just bounce around and build up and really affect the tone. However, I will be the first to admit I haven't done like a proper test where I've recorded my vocals in a closet and then compared them to recording them here in the studio. So today, we're going to perform a little experiment. My hypothesis is the studio vocal will sound better than the closet vocal for the reasons I mentioned before. There's a lot of frequencies bouncing around in a more enclosed area, particularly in the low mids, and that's going to affect the sound of the recorded vocal. However, we're going to record it and find out by recording the same vocal part one time in my closet, one time here. Let's dive in. Here's the rig. Quantum 2626 Thunderbolt interface into Studio One. And there's our booth. As you can see, I'm the wrong height for this, but if you just kind of nuzzle back in and kind of bend your knees, perfect. Let's record. Record. Check 1, 2. Here we go. It's a losing game. Back in the main studio, carpeted floors, treatment around the room somewhat, microphone here. It's a losing game. Okay, I've taken that session and opened it up on my studio computer. Since these are two separate performances, there will be differences, so it's not a super rigorous scientific experiment, but I did normalize both recordings to at least get them pretty close in volume. And now let's take a moment and listen. We'll start with the closet vocal, then we'll switch over to the studio vocal. Here we go. It's a losing game. The outcome's always the same. Nobody wins. It's a losing game. The outcome's always the same. Nobody wins. Okay, so not the hugest difference in the world. Upon like just initial listen, you're like, well, I mean, they kind of sound the same microphone. And that was surprising to me. However, if we get over into later in the song, I start to hear a difference. See if you can hear it as well. By the way, whenever you're trying to listen critically on YouTube, make sure you set it to the highest resolution, 1080p. It makes the video better, but it also makes the audio better, in case you didn't know. All right, do that and then listen to this. But I play anyway. Swing for the fences, but they're too far away. But I play anyway. Swing for the fences, but they're too far away. Let's hone in on this swing for the fences line, because that's where I hear the most difference. Here's the closet vocal. Swing for the fences, but they're too far away. And here's the studio. Swing for the fences, but... Let me just switch back and forth between those a couple of times so you can spot the differences. Swing for the fences. Swing for the fences, but they're too... Swing for the fences, but they swing for the fences. So here's what I hear, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this in the comments. The closet vocal has two things going on. First of all, it has more of a wah-wah sort of a sound in the low end. Not a huge amount, not as huge as I thought it was going to be completely honest. I thought it would be more obvious. But that extra frequency range down in the low mids, which I could hear just Like literally, granted, I was kind of turned sideways and squatting down, but when I got in the closet without headphones on and just sang for a second, it was like whenever if you ever, maybe I'm the only one who does this, if you ever hum or sing in like a public bathroom stall when you're in there by yourself, and there are certain frequencies that resonate. So you go, and that one frequency like resonates. I felt that when I was singing in the closet because that was a frequency that was resonating in that space more. Every physical geometric space, like a 3D space, has a resonant frequency or a number of them. So when we shorten the dimensions of a space, then those frequencies get higher. So in a big space like this, those resonant frequencies are so low, it doesn't really affect a singing vocal. But when you squeeze that down, those resonant frequencies get higher. I think this is how this works. Scientists, please correct me, to where it's more in the vocal range. So in that closet, my low mid, the warmth of my vocal is getting exaggerated by the closet itself. And the end result is it's a little bit muddier, but for some weird reason, it tends to have less top end, or at least appears to be less bright than the studio vocal. Same microphone, right? I haven't EQ'd anything. Same voice, but the closet vocal sounds darker and less bright than the studio vocal. Studio vocal still warm, closet vocal a little duller. Listen to it again. I'll start with the closet vocal and switch to the studio. Swing for the fences. Swing for the fences. There's like an air to the studio vocal, this top end kind of 8K and above, kind of a crispiness there that somehow gets lost. Maybe it's the overtones of those lower mid frequencies resonating that are just masking the upper frequencies so we don't hear them. But that was really interesting to me. So what's the takeaway from an experiment like this? I've got two takeaways for you. First of all, if these two vocals aren't just dramatically, wildly different, and I would argue the closet vocal is a little bit worse, then don't bother going through all the hassle of setting up in a closet. Bigger closets might sound better, but what we've noticed here is it's not a huge difference. I don't really hear the closet itself, even in the closet recording. It's just a little bit of the way it affects the sound of the vocal. So why not just stay in your studio and record there? If you hear too much room, then do things like put down a rug, put up some acoustic treatment, hang up some blankets so it deadens it a little bit, but you don't have to go all the way into the closet. Second takeaway is do this experiment yourself. Just because I got this result, your result might be very different. The dimensions of your closet are going to be different. Maybe you've got a bigger closet with lots of clothes in it, and it's the best vocal sound you've ever gotten. I can't predict that for you. I have ideas of what'll happen, but you've got to do this kind of experiment yourself. It doesn't take that long. If you don't have a separate interface and a mobile rig, just run a long microphone cable and a long headphone cable to wherever the closet is and try it out if you're intrigued by it, and then come and listen in your studio and compare the two. You'll find, well, in my experience, I found that they weren't as different as I thought, but I still do prefer the studio vocal. Maybe I'm biased, I probably am. You may find a different result, and it's always fun to do these kinds of experiments because you can do it yourself, and now you know where the best sound is in your specific space with your voice, with your microphones, with all of your equipment. All right, thanks so much for watching. Hope this was helpful and fun for you. If it was, be sure to subscribe. And if you want my free mixing guide, go to 5stepmix.com. It'll teach you how to go through your mixing process in a less chaotic manner so you can actually get those done. All right, that's it for me. See ya.